there, my name is Eve and I'm going to be taking you through your home-based strength program for our research study. Okay, so for your home-based exercise program, you're going to be performing 3 exercises. You'll be doing each of these exercises in a row. You'll have a short 1-minute break and then you'll be doing 2 more sets. Now for each exercise, we are aiming to do 8 to 12 repetitions and following the instructions as you go. Okay, so the first exercise that we are going to be doing is banded high knees. So this exercise aims to improve the strength and mobility of the muscles around your hips, which we use during stepping activities. So what you're going to need for this exercise is one of the bands that you've been provided with. We also want to make sure we're doing it next to a wall or some sort of handrail for support to ensure we're being safe throughout the movement. So for this exercise, we're going to take the band and put it around our feet, placing it pretty much just below the balls of your feet. What we want to do is bring our feet into a hip width position, so that's going to put some tension onto the band. We're just going to be doing one side at a time for this exercise. So you're going to shift your weight onto one leg. You can use the wall for support if you like. And with that opposite leg, we're going to drive it towards the ceiling, making sure our knee and hip are at about a 90-degree angle, and then bringing it back down. Now the key thing to note with this exercise is we don't want to rush, so we want to maintain stability throughout the whole movement. And a good way to ensure that is we're going 1 second up, 1 second hold, 1 second down. So that's going to help us keep in a nice controlled tempo. Another thing we want to make sure with this activity is that our knees and toes are tracking forwards. So we're not getting pulled in by the band or wobbling side to side, but our toes and knees are going in a nice straight manner and coming back down. So we're going to go for 8 to 12 repetitions of this exercise, and we'll be repeating that for 3 sets in total. Okay, so now we're ready to start the exercise, so having that wall by your side if you need. So we're going to start 1 second up, 1 second hold, 1 second down. We're going for 10 reps in total. Okay, now if that exercise feels too challenging for you, what you can do is lower the resistance band that you are using. Now if it feels too easy for you, you can increase the resistance band that you're using, and you can also do that hold for a little bit longer. So instead of that 1-to-1 tempo, we can do 2 seconds up, 2 seconds hold, 2 seconds down, and that's going to make it a little bit more challenging for you. Okay, so the next exercise that we're going to be doing are our calf raises. So the aim of this exercise is to improve the strength of the muscles around the ankle, which is really important for static and dynamic balance as well as in different stepping movements. So for this exercise, all you need to do is make sure you're in a nice safe location. So making sure you've got something like a wall or a handrail nearby to give you some support. What we're going to do is shift our feet into a hip width position, holding onto the wall if you like. And what we're going to do is rising up on our toes, bringing our heels nice and high, feeling that squeeze behind the legs and that calf muscle. Hold for a second and coming back down nice and slow and controlled. So the key thing to think about in this movement is we want to maintain stability and make sure we're not rushing through the movement. So what we're going to use is that same tempo as we did before. So coming up for 1 second, holding for 1 second, and coming back down. That's going to help us keep our balance and make sure that we're doing the movement correctly. Another thing we want to make sure we're doing is keeping our toes and knees tracking forward. So if you find that your ankles are coming out to the sides, they're bowing out or they're bowing in, we want to fix that because that's not the movement that we're aiming for. So we really want to make sure we're pushing through the balls of our feet, making sure we're centered throughout the whole movement and coming back down. You can use a mirror or a camera if you'd like to check that because it can be difficult to see from this position. So we're going to aim to do 8 to 12 repetitions of this exercise for 3 sets. Now, if that exercise feels too challenging for you, what you can do is ensure you're holding on to assist with some of that support and that balance, and you can reduce the range of motion that you're working through. So not going as high up, but maybe just doing about half of that range. If it feels too easy for you, we can make it more challenging by shifting it to more of a one-sided exercise. So you can bring your feet into a little bit of a semi-tandem position, so just using one leg for support and primarily doing that movement through the other leg. So what that's going to look like is coming up on your left side while the right side's just providing support and coming back down. So really just shifting the load through one side, and again, if that feels quite easy, lifting one leg up and doing the same thing. This one is the most challenging, so see how you go. If you feel like you want to try this one, focusing on those key parts of the technique, making sure you're pushing through the center of the balls of your feet, not bowing in or out throughout the movement. Okay, so the last exercise that we're going to be doing are our step downs. So for this exercise, what you'll need to use is the bottom step of any stairwell that you might have in your house or any safe alternative that you can use. So as you can see, I've got a little step box here. We want to make sure we've still got that nice safe support, so either using the handrail next to your stairwell or having a wall nearby that you've always got access to. So the aim of this exercise is to improve the strength of the muscles around your knees, which are really important for stepping movements. So to perform this exercise, what we're going to do is stand on that bottom step or that little stepping stool and face away from the stairwell, so facing down. We're going to have our feet hip width apart, making sure that our foot is wholly on the stair if possible. So trying to make sure that the toes aren't hanging over the edge as long as you've got enough space to do so. Our feet will be hip width apart and we're going to be holding onto the wall, especially during the first time you do this movement. We want to make sure we're nice and safe. So for this movement, again, it's going to be on one side at a time. So we're going to shift our weight onto either side. So I'm going to start with my left. I'm going to bring my right leg forward so it's hanging over the box. Now, what I'm going to do is bend my left knee forward until my right heel taps the floor, and then I'm going to drive my knee back until I'm standing in that nice upright position. So again, bending down, tapping the floor, coming back up into that nice upright position. Now, with this exercise, the key points are very similar to what we've already discussed in the earlier exercises. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining stability the whole time throughout the movement. So we're not rushing, we're keeping our balance. And to do so, we're going to use that same tempo. So 1 second down, 1 second hold, 1 second up. What we also want to make sure is our body is tracking in a nice, safe manner. So we're standing up nice and tall the whole time, our body's not swaying side to side, and our hips, knees and toes are tracking in a nice line. So nothing's coming to the side or wonky, but really nice and controlled throughout the whole movement.